everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And this is the day that we start actually playing with elements to put into our journal, aside from our Tag Tuesday. If you're new to my channel, we are working on a project. It can be a journal, it can be a collection of small projects, whatever, using these 4 colors as our mainstay. You can choose any of the 3 out of the 4, and it can change from project to project throughout the month. So we're working with an orange, a brown, a green, and a white. You can bring in other colors into your project as long as your project includes at least 3 of these 4 colors. Now yesterday we pulled our first stick for this month, and we are working on lined journaling space. Now we have done lined journaling space in the past, but I thought today we'd talk about something a little different. Trying to figure out where I want to go with this. Do I tell you? Do I show you? Do I show you? Do I tell you? Let's just go this route. I have here a piece that I worked on this morning, and it's basically explained as, what if we thought about stepping away from the linear way of journaling on our projects to add interest and movement by creating unusual forms on which to tell our stories. And so I'm going to talk about a couple of different ones we can do today. I do have a third one in my head that I'm going to show you when we have a little bit more time. So let's start with something really simple. We have our basic lined things, and we can do this by adding patterned lined paper to our tags. We can do it by stamping lines, using a stencil. But here's one I want to play with today. I'm starting with what is half of a popsicle stick. And chances are, if you're a crafter, you probably have these in your stash. If you don't, maybe you have some chipboard that you could cut you a strip to use. Rulers are too wide for what we're doing, unless you want to measure dots. But I want to keep this simple. So I just used a half of a popsicle stick, and I started by using a pencil to draw my lines. And I'm going to scoot up here so I make sure I'm in frame. And I started in one corner, drew a front line, and then I drew a line on the back side of the popsicle stick. And that gave me, I have sticky on the end of this and it's driving me crazy. That gives me a starting point to line up the next one. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going, and I'm trying to keep my head out of the way and see what I'm doing, so bear with me here. Now that one went almost to the point, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and then I'm going to turn the paper, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a line part way down from that corner, and I'm going to create my back line, just like that. Then I'm going to move my stick down, line it up with that last line that I drew, and draw another one. And I'm going to do this all the way down until I hit another corner point where my lines connect. Now this may seem odd, but anybody can write in a linear fashion. But what this does, and I'm turning it this way so I can see where I'm lining up my stick. What this does is it's just another way to create movement within your journal. And so I'm going to come down a little bit. So I've got a square big enough there to write at least a word. And then I'm going to take this down and I'm going to go the rest of the way. And you know what? That glue, whatever it is, on the end of that stick is driving me nuts. So we're just going to break it off and get it out of there. Because it's sticking to my glass mat and I can't move my stick. But what this does is it gives your eye a new way to travel around your page or around your tag, so that you're not going the same direction all the time. Now see here, I've hit this. So I want to come back this way. And I'm going to do that again. And I think I'm still in frame here, because I'm not standing up. I'm sitting down so I can see what I'm doing. And what this does is so that, as I said, your eyes have somewhere to go. So you're not going the same way all the time. And then you can come back in. Now on this one I went through and I colored the lines with a Stampin' Up! Alcohol marker. And let's try this. I don't think a light pumpkin pie is going to work. Let's try an actual pumpkin pie, which is an orange. And you know orange is one of our colors. And I'm going to try and keep this up here where you can see. And all I'm doing, but this way I'm going back and not only have my lines, but I'm also adding color. Instead of just your usual black and white or blue and white. And I've been trying to use as much manila file folder in this journal as I can. Those tags that I cut yesterday that I was showing you. See if I can get a hold of one. These were all cut from the cutoffs when I cut the individual file folder pages or signatures down. Now this one, if you're coming to an edge, you're better off if you go from an inside out. You'll see there I bubbled on that one because the marker caught on the edge. So you're better off if you come back from an inside line and go this way. Just like this. Once you have this drawn, then you can come back and do whatever you want to with this tag. You can give it a decorative top. You can trim the top edges, and I think I put my actual tags away because I had already done my tags. So let's pretend I know what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and we can cut this one off here, and I'm going to use this line as my point. I think, yeah. And then I'm going to try the flipperoo thing that usually doesn't work for me. And flip that piece over in reverse. And come back this way. Now, could I have done this before I drew the lines? Yes. But I think having those extra little pieces there add additional interest and help you give a starting point as to where you're going if you want to put something in there. So there's one. Now let's do this one. And I'm going to do this one a little bit different because I want to go this way. And I want to see if I kept the die over here that I wanted to use. If not, I'm going to take just a second. Yeah, that's going to work. I'm going to take just a second and run across the room here really quick. If I can grab it, fine. If I can't, I have circle dies from Stampin' Up, but they're not as big as my ones from Spellbinders. And I want a nice big circle on this one. And here's another way to create your lines. And that is to start right here. Let's see if I'm in here. Take a circle die or something that has a round shape. You could use your tear and tape roll, masking tape, blue tape, whatever. And I'm going to start, and I am going to use, oh, my mint tape is over on the table. So I'm going to try and hold this still. And I'm going to draw my circle. Right like that. Now I've got that first one in here. Now I'm going to come back on the inside and I'm going to draw inside. Just like that. That gives me a smaller line to work with, but it's okay. It's okay. Now if I want to use the same circle, I'm going to be cutting things off. So I am going to come down and I'm going to use the next circle that sets inside. So this is an interesting way to make use of your dies because all I'm doing is making it a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. Some of these journaling shapes like this, you might have seen them in the early 70s in some of the posters. we've got this. If you have a rainbow stamp, you could do this with a rainbow stamp and just stamp your outside solids, and then you would have your lines on the rainbow to write. And that might be cool if you're doing a rainbow journal. That would be really cool, is to create that space with your rainbow stamp. And then you can come back and you can change these colors. We did that one in an orange. Let's do this one in brown. And I have the fine tip, and this one I am going to put my glasses on so I can see where I'm going with this. And I'm just going to purl this around. Get my dies out of the way so I can turn and you can see. So there are different ways to create your lines. Use those quick magnetic notepads. Use scraps and create your own lines. Use notebook paper. Use blank ledger paper. But I wanted to show you a different way to create your lined journaling space that we've not talked about before. And my trimmers don't make this really easy, but they're not as bad as some people, and I am still trying to learn to work with them. Sometimes I just have to creep around the page. And if you have trouble with trimmers, maybe go in on the computer in Paint and create lined spaces in geometric shapes. Possibly, can you picture doing this with a star or with a Christmas tree? Let's draw a quick Christmas tree. And I'm gonna, so this comes out kind of decent, I am gonna find my center point here. I have, that wants to move on me. My center point is right there. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go from my center point down to this bottom triangle. Let me get these out of the way so we can see. I want to make sure I'm up here. So I'm up here. I'm lined up here at the top where I made my center point, and I'm going to draw a line down to that corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go from that top point, and I'm going to kitty around to where my ruler is down in that bottom corner. And I have a Christmas tree. And then I can come back with the same popsicle stick, and I can start this way. And maybe if you did this, maybe use the star where you would put your first word. And do this. Trace a star or cut out a star and do a star. Now this is not exactly level. What I should have done was started down here at the bottom where I could line my stick up with the bottom of the tag. That might have been better. And go this way. So here's a different way to do some journaling in your junk journals or in mini books or whatever, and create an additional piece of movement, adding interest to your journals by adding the difference in the direction of your lines, adding colors. And I think I'm going to get one more in here. And then we can come back and do this with the green. Look at that mark there. I don't know what it was for. And I'm going to try and trace this kind of quick, but if it's kind of squiggly, that's okay. It's a Christmas tree. It's not supposed to have straight linear edges, right? And then I can come back here, draw in my lines. They don't have to be perfect. And then you could write a Christmas message or journal about a Christmas memory. You could do this with literally any shape. Do it on a jack-o'-lantern, do it on a star. Do it in a spider web and use the webs within the spider web for your lines. So if you have a spider web stencil or a spider web stamp, that would be great for a Halloween journal. So that is it for me today. Oh, really quick. I lost it already. Here is how our tag from Tuesday finished out. I did the center with Studio G. This one is called, it doesn't have a color. Doesn't have a color, just a number. So I did that in the center of the sunflower. Then I went back and I got some chat stickers from Tim Holtz and added a sentiment, and then I brought in this small moth from Tim Holtz, and I did not add, I did not put the wings completely down. So again, we've got movement from what would ordinarily be a very static piece. So that's it for me today. We will be back here tomorrow, premiere, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be doing some show and tell, and I'll show you where I'm at on this journal so far. In the meantime, remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Creative blessings.